Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Script and Execute. My name is Shruti. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to perform cross-browser testing and parallel testing. Okay. So before that, let me quickly explain what is cross-browser testing and parallel testing. Okay. So cross-browser testing means testing if your application works correctly across all different browsers. Okay. I will repeat once again. Cross-browser testing means testing if your application works correctly across all different browsers. Okay, so like Google Chrome, Microsoft Edge, and Firefox. Since all the users do not use the same browsers, it is always good to make sure our application works correctly across all different browsers. Okay, so this is cross browser testing. Next is parallel testing. Parallel testing means executing tests at the same time. Okay, executing the tests at the same time instead of executing them one by one. Okay, so think suppose if we have 10 tests. Okay, so instead of executing them one by one slowly, Playwright executes them simultaneously. Okay, this is parallel testing. So just remember, parallel testing means executing the tests at the same time. Okay, so now let me show you how to perform cross browser testing. Okay, so the good news is in Playwright we don't have to do any settings to perform configuration, sorry, any settings or configuration to perform cross browser testing. Okay, so if you go to this config file, that is playwright.config.ts, under project we have this settings, that is name is a colon chromium name Firefox. Okay, so 1 minute. Okay, so name is Chromium, name Firefox, and name WebKit. So what I mean by that is, so when I say name Chromium, Playwright executes our tests in Chromium browser. Okay, so when I say Firefox, Playwright executes our tests in Firefox browser. Okay, so here you need to remember or understand that Playwright, this Chromium is not the Chrome browser installed in your machine. Okay, so these are all the Playwright own versions of browsers. Okay, so you can say that Playwright's lightweight versions of the browsers. Okay, so these are not the actual browsers installed in your machine. Okay, so these are all Playwright's own versions. Okay, so if you want to perform in actual, if you want to make the Playwright launch its own, I mean the browsers installed in your machine, you need to do some settings. Okay, so that I'll show you next. So let me show you this spec file. Okay, so I have three tests here, so I'll execute only one. Okay, dot only. So here, since we have the settings to execute in three major browsers, Chromium, Firefox, and WebKit, so we don't have to do any settings. Just come here in the console. I will just say npx playwright test and give the path of the spec file, and I will say head it. Okay, so by default playwright runs in all three browsers. Okay, so let me press enter. So we want to execute only this spec file. Okay, so using running three tests means, so here I want to execute only one, but Playwright executing in executing in all three major browsers. Okay, so it became three tests. I will explain what is worker next. So this is Chrome. You can observe the logo, and this is Firefox. So this is cross browser testing. I'm testing the same test across different browsers. Okay, Chromium is done, Firefox is done, next is WebKit, that is Safari. So as I said, next I'll show you how to open the actual browsers installed in your machine and run them. Okay, this is WebKit, Safari. Okay, so all the three tests are passed. Okay, so I'll go back to this config file. So what I'll do, I'll just put this piece of settings in the config file. Okay, so I'll just comment these lines and I'll paste this settings and I'll save it. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'll leave this piece of code in the comment section. You can copy this. Okay, so here I'm saying channel is equal to Chrome and name is Google Chrome. So this will launch the Google Chrome installed in your machine, actual Google Chrome. Okay, okay, so channel means it will tell the Playwright to open the actual browsers installed on your machine. Okay, okay, and sorry, and Playwright do not use the channel. So we here I'm not used channel. Okay, so let me execute this, save and execute, and you can see that actual browser, your application launches in actual browsers. Okay, and if you think you're learning something from this video, please do like and subscribe to my channel. Okay, now you can see this, it's opening actual Google Chrome and Edge. And as I said, Firefox do not use channel, it uses its own Playwright's browser version. Okay, this is Firefox. Okay, so this is about cross browser testing. Okay, I'm testing the same test across different browsers. Okay, okay, so now let's move on to parallel testing. Okay, so you must have already noticed something that when you have more than one test, Playwright actually runs them in parallel mode using something called as workers. Okay, so let me remove this dot only, save, and I have three tests here. Okay, I have three tests here and let me run them. So by default, Playwright runs them in parallel mode by assigning something called as workers. Okay, so you need to remember that Playwright assigns something called as workers to do parallel testing. Okay, so think of Playwright like like multiple hands doing the same job at the same time. Okay, so here what Playwright will do is it will assign some it will divide your tests across multiple workers. Okay, so here I have not mentioned how many workers it should take, but by seeing that Playwright assigns the workers. Okay, so if you want to assign the workers, you can assign. Okay, so in the configuration file here, I'll scroll up. Here we have something called as workers colon this line. Okay, so this basically means, so when you run the tests in CI/CD mode, so Playwright will assign only one worker. Okay, so for now I'll comment this line and I will say workers colon 4. Okay, so when I say workers colon 4, so what it will do is one, I'll put colon, save. So workers colon 4 means, so here I am telling the Playwright to assign 4 workers to run my tests. Okay, so this is very important and you need to remember. And also you can mention the same thing in the uh, terminal when you execute. Okay, so now it's executing. There were seven tests, sorry, nine tests. Okay, so here I have three tests and three browsers, so it will become nine. Okay, so let's ignore this failure for now. Okay, so now nine test is running. So one thing to remember, sorry, one thing to remember is we don't have to do any settings to do cross-browser testing or parallel testing. Everything we have in the config file. Okay. So, but for workers, we don't have config file. It is defined for CI/CD mode. You need to just change this to workers colon 4, and also you can mention the same thing in the terminal mode when you execute locally. Okay, I'll just cancel this. Okay, so here I will say hyphen hyphen workers is equal to, okay, let me cancel this execution, hyphen hyphen workers is equal to 2. So I don't want 4, I want only 2 workers, and also I can say 4. Okay, so execute. If you say 2 here, so it will not assign 4 workers, it will assign only 2 workers. Okay, so you can say 9 tests using 4 workers. By default it is executing in all three browsers. Okay, so to perform this, just what you can do is just take any three tests. Okay, so you'll understand the execution. So now what I'll do is, so since this is executing in all three browsers, so what I will say just execute the tests only in one browsers. Okay, I will just cancel the execution. I will say 4 workers, or I will say 2 workers, and I will give the option hyphen hyphen project colon, wow, okay, hyphen hyphen project is equal to Google Chrome. So this will open in Google Chrome. Okay, spelling is correct. Okay, so now let us execute. It is giving 3 workers because we have only 3 tests. Okay, so I'll cancel the execution. I'll say 2 workers. Okay, sorry about this. Okay, so now let me execute. So when I say hyphen hyphen project is equal to Google Chrome, it will open the Google Chrome installed in our machine. Okay, so earlier we used to give, instead of Google Chrome, we used to give Chromium. Okay, so since I have the setting here to launch the actual browsers, I'm giving Google Chrome. So this is how we perform cross-browser testing and parallel testing. And once again, I'm saying if you think you learned something from this video, please do like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching.